waiting to see if reason or resentment would prevail. The 7 Years' War, the seeds of discontent were sown. The cry of no taxation without representation rang through the colonies. It was a simple phrase, yet it encapsulated the heart of the matter. The colonists were proud Englishmen. They cherished their liberties, and they were not willing to surrender them without a fight. From Boston to Charleston, protests erupted. Demonstrations filled the streets. Effigies of tax collectors were burned. The colonists, a diverse group united by a common cause, found their voice. They would resist. The spirit of defiance spread like wildfire. The colonists refused to be treated as second-class citizens. They demanded the same rights and freedoms enjoyed by their counterparts in Britain. The stakes were higher than just a tax on paper. This was about liberty itself. Among the colonists, a new breed of patriot emerged, the Sons of Liberty, a clandestine organization shrouded in secrecy. They were merchants, lawyers, and artisans, united by their unwavering commitment to freedom. Their methods were often unorthodox, but their message was clear: the Stamp Act would not stand. Sons of Liberty organized boycotts, refusing to buy British goods. They spread awareness through passionate speeches and fiery pamphlets. They targeted symbols of British authority, staging public demonstrations and protests. Their most audacious act? The tarring and feathering of tax collectors. A brutal act, but one that sent a clear message. Defiance against the Crown came at a price. The Sons of Liberty, through their unwavering actions, became a powerful symbol of colonial resistance. Section 5, the colony was drawing near. Section 6, a nation divided. In London, the debate raged on. The halls of Parliament became a battleground of ideas. On one side stood the supporters of the Stamp Act. They argued that it was essential for maintaining order and raising revenue. They dismissed the colonists' complaints as the work of radicals and troublemakers. On the other side stood those who sympathized with the colonists. They argued that the Stamp Act was unjust and counterproductive. They warned that pushing the colonies too far would only lead to further unrest. The debate reflected a growing divide within Britain itself. The question of the Stamp Act was about more than just taxes. It struck at the heart of the relationship between Britain and her colonies. It forced them to confront fundamental questions about power, representation, and the very nature of empire. Section 7, Franklin's Plea, February 1766. Benjamin Franklin, the esteemed colonial representative, stood before Parliament, a moment etched in history. His testimony was a masterpiece of diplomacy and reason. He spoke of the colonists' loyalty to the Crown. He emphasized their contributions to the empire, but he also spoke with unwavering conviction about their rights. He warned that the Stamp Act was pushing the colonies towards the brink of rebellion. His words resonated with some but fell on deaf ears to others. Franklin's testimony brought the colonial perspective to the forefront. He eloquently articulated the principles of liberty and self-governance that were at stake. His words would have a lasting impact, shaping the course of history. Section 8, a moment of truth. The tension was palpable. The fate of an empire hung in the balance. The eyes of the world were on Parliament. Would they choose conciliation or confrontation? Debate had been fierce. Passions ran high, but in the end, pragmatism prevailed. On March 18, 1766, Parliament voted to repeal the Stamp Act. The news was met with jubilation in the colonies. It was a victory for liberty, a testament to the power of united resistance. But the celebrations were short-lived, for on that same day, Parliament also passed the Declaratory Act. This act asserted their absolute authority over the colonies. It was a clear message. The fight was far from over. Section 9. The storm before the calm. The repeal of the Stamp Act offered a reprieve, but the underlying tensions remained. The Declaratory Act cast a long shadow over the colonies. It was a stark reminder that Britain had not relinquished its claim to absolute power. Seeds of discord had been sown. The colonists had tasted victory, but they also understood that their liberties remained precarious. The struggle for self-determination had just begun. The repeal of the Stamp Act was not the end, it was merely the beginning of a much larger storm. The American Revolution, though still over a decade away, was now an inevitability. The fight for liberty had been ignited and there was no turning back.